friends, welcome back. This is a jar of peanut butter. Now it's a jar of bits. And these bits are going to be the inspiration for this video. These bits were given to me by a friend. First, let me tell you about my alley scavenging friend, Durf Kluge. Durf Kluge wanders the alleys of Chicago. He picks up stuff that people discard. They put it in the back alleys of their houses, and you can find all kinds of weird stuff back there. And he goes through this stuff and finds all kinds of cool treasures and really weird stuff, and he restores a lot of it, keeps some of it, gives some of it away, and strips down a lot of it for parts and reclaims metals and stuff. It's really cool. He has a TikTok channel and you should check it out. But basically, I'm gonna make a video using all these parts that he gifted to me, or using a lot of them anyway. I don't usually work with metal. It's hard to glue and hard to paint, and it's impossible to cut. So I don't usually craft with it, but I decided to take this lot of metal as a challenge. So I decided to see how much of these metal bits I could use in one build. And I'm gonna start by using as little glue as possible. So there's gonna be a lot of friction fitting. But let's get started. I'm also going to talk in this video about being autistic. This is a new-ish development in my life. I found out about 9 months ago that I'm autistic. And it's been a weird time. I've lived decades without knowing that I was autistic. And so it's really kind of life-changing when you find something like that out. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. But I'll try to explain things in the background as well. Right now, I'm constructing a lower torso from Connects parts that you might recognize from some of my previous builds. And I'm going to talk about autism some more. So, I didn't really know anything about autism. I just knew characters on TV, but those characters were never girls. So, but apparently autism can look really different when you grow up as a girl. I got along okay in school, and I got decent grades, so I didn't really stand out as having any kind of issues. So I never got diagnosed, and probably wouldn't have anyway, because girls didn't used to get diagnosed with autism very often. Now I'm just putting some legs on this dinosaur. Oh, I'm making a dinosaur. Did I mention that? Yeah. And there's a cat walking through. I'm gonna smash these nuts to hold the legs on, basically. These nuts have a hex or something inside rather than round, so they are on there good now. And at this point, my boyfriend said I made a cement mixer, but actually, this is the torso, or the lower torso, and it's got legs. And onward. So, girls have different expectations put on them when they are growing up, and I learned to be an awesome emulator. I would just act like who I was around, or I would act like a character that I knew, and in autism terms, that's called masking, or camouflaging, and it might sound kind of cool, but it's actually really tiring. Something that comes really natural to non-autistic people, maybe not all of them, but most of them. It takes a lot of processing when it does not come to you naturally, and so my brain gets tired doing this, and it's not very good, but it's how I've gotten along. And at this point, I'm making a dino tail, and I'm using lots of nuts and big roundy, I don't know what those are, bits. And I finally get to use this round spring that I found on the ground somewhere. It's like really rusty and crappy, but I was really excited to use that as the end of my dino tail. And now I'm gonna make a dino head out of some marker caps and armature wire, although I swapped that out later because that was not a very good solution. You'll see. Spines are tricky, I think. Another connects piece. And these legs are from my last video where I was making chicken legs, and they're going to be my dinosaur arms. You can kind of see where I'm going there. So now, I'm just thinking about the shape of a T-Rex's head. I'm making a T-Rex. So, like, what do T-Rex heads look like? They're not as pointy as a raptor, and that's all I could really tell you. But I'm coming up with an estimation of a T-Rex head. And this is what the catty cam has going on today. This is Brownie. Brownie is like a really serious muffin maker. I thought you guys might want to see like how seriously she takes her muffin making job. She like goes to another place in her head. Look at her. Hard work. She does eventually lay down after about 100 more muffins, and it was intense, right? She's an intense kitty sometimes. Alright, so I'm back to that spine. See, I made a smarter spine. I kind of like bent that connects piece by heating it up over a candle. And here I'm looking for, it kind of looks like I'm picking a hat, but I'm actually just trying to close off the back of this dude's head, because it shouldn't just be open. But none of these caps are like working for me. So I'm fiddling and I'm messing around. And here's the winner. It's a bottle cap, although you can watch me struggle with this bottle cap like an idiot. I just like had a really hard time here. You can kind of squish a bottle cap with your hands. And then I squished it too much and I had to unsquish it. I don't know. I'm not particularly into dinosaurs, just so you know. I did watch the Jurassic Park movie a million times and play the SNES game, which was like unreasonably difficult. And I also read the book a few times, but that's the extent of my like interest in dinosaurs. I guess it extends to Jurassic Park only. That's a stereotype that all autistic people know about dinosaurs, I think. I'm trying to get some more like friction fit action going on. Filling in spaces. I think this will fit into that. It does. And now I'm gonna build some beadbot arms. This is like standard beadbot stuff. Take wire, put beads on wire. I don't like gluing the individual beads together because then you can't move the piece around, because like if you use super glue it just makes this like brittle unit that doesn't bend around, so I just glued at the ends. And I'm aware that making a T-Rex in a video where I talk about autism is like very on the nose. I just thought I would mention it, that I know. You don't have to tell me. Now I'm making a backpack. This guy is gonna get a backpack because he might want to carry well, he definitely wants to carry stuff because he's got a lot going on. He's an interesting T-Rex. And this painted fabric, this is left over from my big bot bash beadbot build. And when you paint fabric like this, it makes it like really malleable and it holds its shape really well. So it was really easy to just like mold together this little backpack. I didn't have to like, you know, stitch it or anything. It just kind of held in place. And now I'm just figuring out some straps. This guy's a big head. Like, I don't know if you ever knew any kids, or maybe you were one of these kids that like, you flip your backpack off over the top of your head. You know, you like fold your body in half and flip your backpack off over your head. That's how this dinosaur has to take off his backpack because his arms are so weird. I mean, I take his head off, but once his head is no longer removable, that's how you have to do it. And now I'm just making a tiny little pocket for his tiny little backpack. Hot glue does not work great with this fabric, and neither does that glue. So, no advice there. Now I'm just super gluing his little fingies. I have challenges. I don't really like super glue. I end up gluing myself more than what I'm usually trying to glue. I use a lot of baking soda, and that makes it so that you can touch it without getting stuck to it. And it also like speeds up the curing or whatever, but I do it just so I don't accidentally glue myself to everything. Now I'm working on some dino leggies. This is costume jewelry bits. And I'm going to use some wire to kind of suspend these bits across this, I don't know, gap. Kind of look like muscles in the end, sort of. I don't know, maybe. Look away, Lego zealots. I'm cutting up some Lego. I'm sorry. I need it. This is my little dinosaur's feet and little claws. How else are you gonna use screws? You know, you gotta think of these things. You gotta be clever. I don't know what else you would do with screws. I would have liked to work in another joint. These legs are missing something, obviously. But I felt like that was above my skill level. So, like, maybe next time I will do some... Is that articulation? Yeah, I'll do some articulated joints so that this dude can walk, like, not... and not look goofy. Those are Q-tip stems or whatever. And those are his little leggies. And I think it's looking pretty good at this point. I'm liking how he's turning out. And his head is not attached, so a lot of flexibility there. That's fun. He stands up, which is really fun too. I'm just having fun at this point. I primed it. He's looking very T-Rex-like, I think. Sort of. Enough, right? Yeah. So now we got some granny grate, and I'm making dino teeth and dino lips. I used a bit of armature wire for the lips. I think a bot. It doesn't really make sense that bots have teeth to begin with, but he can have square teeth and that would be okay. So back to talking about autism. So I got a gap here. I've identified some pros and cons with my particular version of autism that I have. It's a spectrum after all. There's some things that I'm good at that I attribute to having autism. And one of those things, I pick up new things really quickly. And I'm pretty good at seeing things from a systems perspective. I'm good at data analysis. And as you can see here, I do okay with problem solving. I'm a visual thinker, and I have a really good spatial memory. And I'm super detail oriented, like to a fault. I've had a lot of inspector/auditor type jobs because that's like what I'm good at. But I've also had just like 1,000 jobs. So that leads us into what I've identified as like the bad parts about being autistic. And like the first one that is affecting me the most right now in my life is sensitivities. Like I'm super sensitive to caffeine. I have given up chocolate. I can't really even do decaf coffee. I do like less than 1/8 of a teaspoon of decaf coffee a day just to have a little. Loud noises, noisy environments are like terrible for me. I can't filter noise well. So anytime I'm trying to like have a conversation with someone, if it's in a noisy place, if there's crosstalk, I'm worthless. Like, I just agree with everything because I can't hear people. Places like grocery stores are really overstimulating. They have the bright lights, they have all the beeping of like the scanners, there's people everywhere you gotta like not run into, you gotta smile at them. There's all the products you gotta look at. I don't like grocery stores or shopping. I gave this guy like a Bowser belly. I don't know if it's really appropriate for a T-Rex, but that's what I'm doing. So one thing that I'm not sure whether it's good or bad is monotropism, which that refers to your type of attention, whether you are like super focused or you have a wide range of focus. I get fixated on things and it's really hard to do or think about anything else. So it's good in that it makes me really driven to do things and learn certain things like that I'm interested in, but for everything else that I'm not interested in, it makes everything else seem kind of like boring and take a backseat. So I have to try really hard to not get totally lost in things. And now I'm just doing Greedlies. Greedlies are all about adding details to sell your project and make it look more realistic. Bits and bobs. So of course with autism, there's all the social stuff, which is probably like one of the things you might be familiar with, one of the more common things you hear about. So I'm always really anxious around people that I'm not super comfortable with. Don't know what to say, don't know how to look or act. I'm processing all the time. Like I take in too much input. I'm thinking about what people look like and I'm thinking about their hair being out of place or whatever. If I have to make eye contact with them, it's like 100 times worse. I just like can't focus. I'm just not as good in a social setting as I am when I'm on my own. Everything is harder and my brain works a lot slower. And there's just like too much to process when there's social stuff in the mix. So that's that. Look at this guy. He is so handsome. I'm like in love with this little dinosaur. I think he's adorable. He's got the little head tilt, which is not something I totally planned, but yeah, he's turning out really cute. This is a mouse. Like the clicky kind of mouse. It's like a mouse part. I don't know, the laser eye bit. And I'm gonna strap it to his belly. Because he's a robot after all. And he needs more robot-y bits. And this is just a tiny little fuse. And don't be alarmed, his head is in a jar. It's fine. These are little polymer clay beads that I found that are awesome because they're really easy to cut in half. It makes his little nostrils, and now I'm adding the ridgy stuff. I don't know dinosaur parts. Like, I bet that has a name, that little ridge. There's probably like a bone under there or something. Someone knows that. I don't know that. And now I'm gonna add some cables to him because once again, robot. And this cable had chalk all over it, which was really yucky. But adding cables is also another way to make a bot look very body. Bot-like body. Body. And of course, you gotta do rhinestones. Or rivets in the industry, as we like to say. These rhinestones, as I'm gonna say, these were meant for a tiger. I got these at the Dollar Tree as part of like a tiger kit. And I don't know why the Dollar Tree thinks that tigers are that color of orange. Mystifying. And here, I'm just giving this guy a paint job. He's got a nice metallic coat. And then I'm going to throw some of this iridescent turquoise over him. I'd paint this guy really garish. I don't know. I thought he was bland, and I thought I would just add a little bit of color, but I just went like totally over the top, so I'm just preparing you. You saw the thumbnail, but there's gonna be a lot of color. He's very shiny. And I'm wrapping it up here. This is a pretty quick build for me. I want to say one more thing about being autistic, and the hardest part about it, I think, is just the rest of the world. Because the rest of the world is different. And I'm just trying to figure out how to fit into this world, like find my place, find how I can help people and be happy and bring joy. And my advice to anyone that thinks they might be autistic, there's like a really good quiz out there. I will put it in the description. There's awesome YouTubers out there. I'll include some links to those people too. They've been super helpful to me. My message to anyone else is just be nice, like be kind. Not everyone's brain works like yours, and we're all different, but we all have something to contribute. So let's make the world a little more accommodating, and then we can all shine. Just like my shiny little dinosaur. Oh, that was so cheesy. I'm sorry. That's it, you guys. On to the glamour shots. There he is. I want you to notice his teeny tiny screwdriver. My boyfriend gave me that. Perfect. I thought about making this guy a little base to sit on, but I just want to be able to play with him, so whatever. He doesn't need a base. He's just gonna like hang out. He can sit, he can stand, he's a good boy. Oh, he fell over. That's okay. He can sit, he can stand. He's got kind of a butt underneath. Don't look at his butt. I like how he turned out. Thank you guys for watching. And thanks to Dirk Kluge, and go check out his TikTok channel. It's very fun.